Myla Wonderful. She and I have done, well, she has recorded more recordings than any other guitar in history, classical guitar. All of my Philips career, with the exception of the last couple of recordings, which I made on my son's guitars, I have done on La Wonderful. My father and I were in Madrid when Rodriguez finished this guitar, and we asked Rodriguez to put it on a train, and we would go and meet the guitar at the train station. We were staying at the Hotel Suecia in Madrid. And just my father and I went to pick it up. It came in a cardboard box, and we brought it back to the hotel. And I, being a helpful son, opened the case and took all the packing out and unveiled the case, opened the case, and there was this guitar. And I looked at it and I thought, this is really strange looking. Why did he put this, a piece of wood like that? I didn't think she was I thought she was a little bit unusual. I didn't think she was the most beautiful guitar I'd ever seen. But then I tuned it up. All along, this guitar was made for my father. It's dedicated to my father inside. And I tuned her up. And she was the most beautiful guitar I had ever seen. It was, I can't explain how I fell in love with it. It was perfect. And it had exactly the sound that I dream of. And the feeling, everything was great. And I said, Papa, please, I need this guitar. I want this guitar. And my father says, okay, don't tell your brothers. They will tell them that's the one he built for you. Because Rodriguez was commissioned by us to build a guitar quartet. And this was the first one that came, the one for my father. And then my father said, but let me try it. At least let me try it. Because I was hogging it. I just was playing on it, and just crazy. And of course, my brothers knew this was the guitar that came for my father, but they were very nice, and everybody, and this became my guitar. And from that moment on, I played on her, I toured on her. I had a problem with my neck due to a car accident, so I used to put traction. It was a traction with a water bag that acted as a weight to lift the traction, and I had it. I was in front of a bookcase. And this is when La Wonderful was about a year, less than a year old. And my then toddler daughter, Tina, came running, excited, and she jumped on me. I used to practice with children climbing on my back and writing with crayons on my music. And I loved practicing. I never was a person that liked to practice alone. I wanted to, the time that I was at home, and I needed to practice, I wanted to do it in the midst of living, in the midst of the family. So she came running to me, excited. The bookcase fell on top of me, and it completely crushed. My beloved La Wonderful. I got up, went to the telephone and called Rodriguez and said, my guitar is in pieces. It just got destroyed. And he says, don't worry. Much better than it happened to the guitar than to me. I can still make you another guitar. Or send it to me. Let's see if I can fix it, or I'll put a new top on it, or do something. So I packed it up, put it in, get it ready to ship it to Rodriguez. And my brother Angel came over, and we were going to go to the airport. And on the way to the airport, Angel says, I've heard that there is an incredible repairman in San Diego. His name is Yuris. Let's go and see if he can do it. No, Angel, yes, this is in pieces. But Angel talked me into it and says, what can you lose? Let's take it to him. Angel was also very much in love with his guitar, and many of his recordings he would borrow. La Wonderful, and many of his recordings for Angel Records were also done on this guitar. And so we went to Yuris, and that's when we first met him. And Angel says, if you're as good as they say you are, you can fix it. And Yuris says, well, I don't know. Let me see. So we left it there, and it took Yuris about a year. And finally, he fixed it. The guitar was as good or better. It's miraculously done because it doesn't have, when you look inside, it doesn't have any reinforcements. I don't know how he did it, but he put it back to its original condition. Most repair guitars have cleats inside, and you can look in and see it. This guitar looks like it was new. And it had cracks here, cracks here. Anyway, after that, it has made more than 100 recordings, and it has traveled all over the world. It has, at the time when it was impossible to take guitars inside the airplanes, I had it on a live case, and I was flying from Houston to Los Angeles, and the guitar got lost to appear weeks later, and it showed up in India. And but it has an amazing trajectory with me, and is my beloved La Wonderful. The name, it was named that by Rodriguez because when I first started touring with it, Rodriguez would get letters from guitar players from all over the world saying, I heard the wonderful guitar that you made, Pepe Romero. And one time I was talking to him and he says, what does wonderful mean? That everybody says la wonderful guitar de Pepe Romero. And I told him what it is, and then he said, well, let's just name it La Wonderful. And that's how he got the name.
How many years was this your #1 touring guitar? Because you also say at some point, I remember it became your recording guitar less your touring guitar. How long
Yes.
was it your main touring guitar?
Until 1995, when Papa got sick, gave me Catedral, and I felt really close to him playing his guitar.
And Catedral was from the same batch, right?
From the quartet. Catedral would have been mine.
Okay.
Picasso was Angel's, and Celine doesn't like to name guitars. So his guitar didn't have a name, but the guitar of Celine, he sold it to John Dearman, and it was the one that looks like this in the Russell Cleveland collection. Angel's Picasso had very strange markings, and Tom Gabe has it. And Catedral would have been mine, and this was Papa. But because I took this, when they made Catedral, they also dedicated it to him.